Welcome back to the daily morning sports feed on Reds Army, with me as editor Olivia. Today, let's take a look at some notable sports news in the past 24 hours. Thank you for always supporting and accompanying us. Come to the following hot news. FSU blocks LSU extra point, spoils Brian Kelly's Tigers debut. Andy Ruiz beats Luis Ortiz by decision in heavyweight showdown. Erik Jones delivers victory for Petty GM's Racing in Nascar playoff opener. FSU blocks LSU extra point, spoils Brian Kelly's Tigers debut. Shyheim Brown blocked LSU's extra point attempt with no time left to give Florida State a 24-23 victory Sunday night, spoiling Brian Kelly's debut as the Tigers coach. Despite a slew of mistakes including a muffed punt with 2:15 left, LSU came within the extra point of tying it in the wild finish. Florida State's Treshaun Ward fumbled at the LSU 1-yard line with 1:20 to go, and Tigers quarterback Jaden Daniels drove LSU for a touchdown on a 2-yard pass to Jaray Jenkins with no time left. With LSU fans celebrating an apparent 2-touchdown comeback in the final 4:07, and Florida State fans bracing themselves for what could have gone down as an infamous implosion, Brown deflected Damian Ramos' kick, touching off a Florida State celebration during which players wildly rushed the field. Jordan Travis passed for 260 yards and 2 touchdowns for Florida State. Travis's scoring passes came on a 39-yard throw to Ontario Wilson on a flea flicker and a 27-yard pass that Wilson corralled with one hand while being interfered with. Travis also rushed for 31 yards on a combination of designed runs and scrambles, repeatedly leaving LSU pass rushers grasping air as he spun or darted away from pressure. Tens of thousands of garnet and gold-clad spectators helped sell out the Superdome, virtually negating what could have been a home advantage for LSU in a game played just 80 miles from its Baton Rouge campus. And they left happy after Florida State, 2-0, coming off 4 straight losing seasons, prolonged a promising start to coach Mike Norvell's 3rd season in charge. This game was arguably more meaningful to Norvell than Kelly, who was lured from Notre Dame with a decade-long, $100 million contract designed to give him time to remake LSU football in his image. Kelly's staff includes only one assistant from last season, while 16 transfer players were brought in to patch up a roster in flux. One of those transfers was former Arizona State QB Daniels, who started after a tight competition in camp with Garrett Nussmeier. He completed 26 of 35 passes for 209 yards and 2 touchdowns, both to Jenkins. Daniels also rushed for 114 yards. Another transfer, running back Noah Cain, from Penn State, scored LSU's first TD from a yard out on 4th down late in the 3rd quarter to make it 17-10. Travis marched the Seminoles right back to the end zone, highlighted by a 15-yard completion to Johnny Wilson as the elusive QB jumped away from closing defenders. DJ Lundy finished the drive with a 1-yard TD run to make it 24-10 with 9:04 to go. LSU took its only lead, at 3-0, on its first possession. But that drive stalled shortly after first-year center Garrett Dellinger's shotgun snap over Daniels' head on 2nd and goal from the FSU 5-yard line. Florida State's lead was just 7-3 at halftime after both teams blew red zone opportunities. LSU's line didn't look ready when the ball was snapped on a field goal attempt, and Jared Verse knifed in past left tackle Cameron Wire to block Ramos' kick. The Seminoles couldn't cash in on Malik Neighbors' first of 2 muffed punts, which FSU recovered on the LSU 16. Norvell kept the offense on the field on 4th and 2 from the 8-yard line, and Travis's pass to the far corner of the end zone fell incomplete. Andy Ruiz beats Luis Ortiz by decision in heavyweight showdown. Andy Ruiz knocked down Luis Ortiz 3 times on the way to a victory by unanimous decision Sunday night, taking a key step toward a chance to become a heavyweight world champion again. Former 3-division world champion Abner Mares also fought to a majority draw with Miguel Flores in Mares' return from a 4-year ring absence on the pay-per-view undercard. Lightweight Isaac Pitbull Cruz then stopped Eduardo Ramirez in the 2nd round with 2 vicious knockdowns. In the main event, Ruiz, 35-2, 22 KOs, had all of the big moments while grinding out a decision over Ortiz, 33-3, a 2-time world title challenger. The Southern California native knocked down the 43-year-old Ortiz twice in the 2nd round and again in the 7th, but his Cuban opponent punched more accurately during long stretches of relative inactivity for both fighters. "I worked so hard for this fight, because I knew he's a warrior and he hits hard," Ruiz said. I thought I did a beautiful job handling his pressure and also coming forward. The judges scored the bout 114 to 111, 114 to 111 and 113 to 112 for Ruiz. The Associated Press also had Ruiz 114 to 111, with the knockdowns making the difference. Ruiz pulled off one of the bigger upsets in recent heavyweight history when he took Anthony Joshua's 3 championship belts in 2019, only to lose them back to his British opponent 6 months later. Ruiz had fought just once since, but he rededicated himself to training with hopes of getting another shot at the belts. I do not want to be waiting, Ruiz said. I want to fight at least 3 or 4 times a year. I'm hungry, man. I want to be a champion again. After entering the ring in a blue and gold robe and trunks featuring the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams colors and helmet horns, Ruiz abruptly floored Ortiz early in the second round with a short right hand. Ortiz wobbled to his feet and soon slipped back down while trying to clinch with Ruiz, but he made it to the bell. Neither fighter threw much or risked much in the next 4 rounds, and the crowd that loudly backed Ruiz grumbled its displeasure. But Ruiz connected again late in the 7th, staggering Ortiz before sending him to the canvas with a right to the top of the head. It was very difficult, Ruiz said. The ability that I have for counterpunching instead of waiting for him to load up, that was a blessing. Erik Jones delivers victory for Petty GM's Racing in NASCAR playoff opener. Erik Jones saw the 2 strongest cars in the Southern 500 go to the garage in the final 35 laps Sunday, and as a driver on a 109-race winless streak, he got a feeling that he hadn't had recently. It was my race to lose, he said afterward. Jones delivered the 200th victory for the iconic number 43 car and the first win for the new in 2022 Petty GMS Racing organization as he captured the victory at Darlington Raceway. NASCAR Hall of Famer Richard Petty left the late-night race a little early but called his driver in victory lane. I really wanted to get a win for him, obviously. Richard has always had the belief that we can do it and I can do it, said Jones, who had not won since he started driving for Petty in 2021. Just to get him one was pretty special. Here are 3 takeaways from the NASCAR Cup Series playoff opener. Jones upsets playoff field. Ineligible to win the championship, as he isn't one of the 16 Cup playoff drivers, Jones made up Sunday for a season in which he had hoped to be racing for a title. It's frustrating in a way, but in my opinion, it's a heck of a lot cooler to get a win at Darlington, he said after his second career Southern 500 victory. He did it by holding off 48-time Cup winner Denny Hamlin over the final laps. I had a strategy, and that was to really drive in deep and goat him into hitting the wall himself, Hamlin said. I wasn't going to pass him without clobbering him or running into him or forcing him into the fence. Erik has never done anything sideways to me. Truex, Busch have trouble. Martin Truex Jr. led 48 laps but dropped from the lead after a water pump belt broke, resulting in his car overheating with 32 laps remaining. And then Truex's Joe Gibbs racing teammate Kyle Busch dropped out 9 laps later when his engine expired. Truex, like Jones, was hoping to earn a win after missing the playoffs. Busch was looking for his second win of the season. We deserve better, and no matter what we do this year, it seems wrong, Truex said. Busch has only 2 top 10s in his past 12 races. The sun will come up tomorrow, he said post-race. More trouble for favorites. Busch lamented losing the opportunity to earn an automatic bid to the second round of the Cup playoffs. The 4 winless drivers with the fewest points in the 3-race round won't advance to the second round. Drivers do carry playoff points, bonus points for stage wins and race wins, from round to round. Busch wasn't the only playoff driver to have trouble, as 4 playoff drivers finished outside the top 20. Chase Briscoe, 27th, Busch, 30th, Kevin Harvick, 33rd, and Chase Elliott, 36th. Elliott crashed early but with his playoff points is still above the cutoff. Briscoe got caught up in the Elliott crash. Harvick had a fire in his car, a situation that occurred in other cars this year. Teams no longer build the parts for their cars, and Harvick stewed over the fact that the issue hasn't been resolved. What a disaster for no reason, Harvick said post-race. We didn't touch the wall. We didn't touch a car, and here we are in the pits with a burned-up car, and we can't finish the race during the playoffs because of crappy-ass parts. And those are also the most outstanding morning news today. Thank you to everyone for listening and following redsarmy's daily news. If you find the video interesting and useful, please click like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the latest sports news.